Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another edition of Wrestling Therapy. I, of course, am Suja, your host, and today we are back with another guest, returning guest. Please reintroduce yourself to those who are unfamiliar.
Call me Moose. I'm Heathen Moose on Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, as well as Blue Sky. I'm a bit of an asshole and a wrestling snub, and I am now more of an AEW guy than WWE. Look me up.
Nothing, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Did you catch Dynamite last night?
Yes, I did, and honestly, Halloween Dynamite is always one of my favorites, only because it's fun to see Hangman go crazy every Halloween. You know, going from the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man to last night being Tony Schiavone.
I missed the majority of Dynamite last night. I knew of the matches, but is there anything out of Dynamite that you were really excited about?
I was really glad that they're building the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, more toward the women's tag titles. Only because as much as, Mercedes Moné and Athena are great, and as like Penelope Ford, who's out with an injury, and the Megasis, and all the other like big names in it, I'm glad they're putting more time on the people that have been doing the women's tag team matches and building that instead of just giving it to Queen Amanada and Jamie Hayter, who already are building toward Blood and Guts. So they're focusing more on the tag teams.
Who do you think is going to be the inaugural women's tag team champions?
Honestly, I as much as I would love for it to be the Sisters of Sin, I think they're going to make it be Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa. I think that Tony losing herself after losing to Chris Statlander twice, Mina losing her belt to Mercedes, I think they're going to build that relationship stronger, give it that initial star power with Tony and Mina at the gate, and then transition it to maybe a Sisters of Sin um, that don't have the name recognition but have been building, helping build that division after getting that initial push.
Okay, that's a nice pick. I had somebody on yesterday, and we was talking about possibilities of Athena and Monet to give Monet another belt.
I only don't see that working as much as it would be nice to add another belt. Because I think they're her and Athena they're going to keep building them butting heads with the forever champ Athena and Mercedes collecting more and more belts. They're going to just keep building that until they have their own rivalry off on the side and they bring someone else up to face Chris Statlander. Because right now you have Mercedes targeting Chris Statlander for the world title and in the tag title division and she's just spreading herself too thin. So I think this is how they're going to work it and spread or start building that story of hey maybe now is when she's going to start losing belts because she's trying to go so many different directions and it's just going to be one seatbelt pin or one roll up and it's going to be the downfall.
That's where she starts to spiral.
Right, because at some point she's going to spiral and I don't see that they're going to have her lose one or two belts and that be the end of it. I think at that point that's when the indies start building their talent and like Rev Pro has their person win the belt and be their home star, and then this CMLL and all these local shows start building their people to take the belt off of them, and it'll just be like a waterfall of it.
So do you think? So you're pretty much kind of predicting at some point next year she's not going to have any titles. You think?
I think she keeps the TBS title the longest, um, but I see her losing it maybe the spring of next year after she's already lost. Like that's going to be the final domino.
Okay. I know there was a fatal four way for I don't want contendership for Hangman. Who won that match?
So Samoa Joe won that one, which was what I had predicted going into it because it was Hook, Samoa Joe, Bobby Lashley, and Ricochet. And Bobby Lashley's great. He's not going to be in the world title picture anytime soon on AEW. They just don't have the story for it yet, especially because of how heavy he's been in the tag and trios scene. And they're building more. I think they're going to do their own version of Blood and Guts between the Demand and the Hurt Syndicate and keep pushing that and use that story to bring in maybe Cedric Alexander or a fourth person into the Hurt Syndicate to finally put the demand to bed while still building Ricochet. Um, and they continue that. Lashley couldn't get in because he got hit with the chair. Hook got choked out, which I think is going to build more into Hook interfering at Full Gear to cost Joe the title because they're going to start building that feud of Hook and Joe, especially Joe announcing that he's going to be retiring soon. He's going to start building up the next couple of guys to kind of take that like legit MMA mixed style from him, and Hook is one of those.
Speaking of retirement, it's kind of interesting when you sit down and think about it and as a broad spectrum. You have guys like Samoa Joe, John Cena, AJ Styles, all retiring soon. Sheamus is probably not too far. Rey Mysterio is probably not too far either. It's Dudley Boyd's just essentially retired a couple weeks ago. A lot of the childhood guys are starting to pack it up now.
Yeah, even Edge says he's not going to be doing it too much longer. I don't see Christian doing it too much longer. And then the new rumor mill is that Jericho's coming back to be in the WWE Hall of Fame within like official retirement that way. So the only one left that you're going to have from those like early days is pretty much going to be Randy Orton.
And who knows with him, he doesn't wrestle as much, so maybe he can kind of probably be around a little bit longer than some of the others who kind of remained active.
Right. It's going to be a whole generation gone within the next year, I think. So one thing that got my eye was the buildup between the Young Bucks and potentially joining the Don Callis family, and at the same time they're building Okada and Takeshita, which I don't care what pay per view you put that on, I'm buying that pay per view immediately as soon as Takeshita and Okada are one on one. Um, but bringing the Young Bucks in to have the financial support of the Callis family, have them as their backup because they do keep losing these big title matches, these big money matches. They were talking about it on the show last night that they've lost to Jungle Express or Jurassic Express a couple times now, and Jurassic Express has cashed almost $1 million off of it, in kayfabe.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think that building of hey, we're gonna maybe push the Young Bucks into the Don Callis family while they're already imploding, I think is interesting only in the fact of are they gonna make it a Wolf Pack versus NWO situation from back in the day with the two splits of the Don Callis family? Because as big as it is, they could reasonably split it into two and leave the half the guys on Collision and half the guys on Dynamite.
How do you think the split will look like
I honestly
if
see
you
Kyle
if you
Fletcher
had the
just
pen?
leaving. If I had the pen, Kyle Fletcher leaves. I think Kyle Fletcher leaves, goes out on his own. He doesn't really need anyone to talk for him at this point. He's been doing the matches on his own for the most part. He hasn't needed as much interference. Same thing with Takeshita. He went to New Japan, won their world title. Maybe have Rocky Romero go for him, just to kind of keep that manager, someone to talk for him. But he doesn't need the big group, and just have it kind of whittle down to, hey, you have Okada. He's going to use Lance Archer. He's going to have, um, I can't remember his name, but he was the other part of Aussie Open that just returned. You have Brian Cage somewhere in the mist. Um, you have smaller names that can still back up Okada while he's bringing the main name, and that gives the Young Bucks story to work with them and Okada at the top of the family for a bit.
Because I know I've seen they've been rumored face turns for one of the members of the Don Callis family, and it'd be interesting to see. It'd be something different.
Yeah, like it's almost a lock that it's going to be Takeshita because at the show last night, went to shake Okada's hand, Okada flipped him off, and then the family had to split them up, and Callis is putting him in another tag match. So it's going to be Takeshita splitting away. It's just going to be is it just him leaving, or is it going to be that splinter that breaks through the rest of the family tree?
Have they announced anything for next week's Dynamite yet, match wise?
The continuation, I'd have to look because I was kind of rushing through parts of it while I was working on other things. They're doing more of the tag tournament for the women's
Okay.
title. I believe Mercedes and Athena are having their match next week, as well as they're going to have more with the Death Riders because now Marina Shafir is going to be tagging with the Megasis. So that's going to be interesting to see if Stack gets involved in that. Harley Cameron. Harley Cameron, I feel like, is an MVP. She's involved everywhere right now for the AEW Women's Division. And then more fallout from Shivani, aka Hangman, taking down Joe. And I think, as much as I love Hangman doing that, it makes me think, okay, if you're gonna start jumping them again and kicking them in the dick, we're not getting a normal match type at Full Gear. This is going to be some kind of Extreme Rules match. And my question is, does he bring the syringe out again?
I remember the syringe. I remember the syringe. Speaking of that, do you think AEW in particular tries too hard for shock value?
Yes and no, only because it depends on what the storyline demands. So, for instance, the Hangman Swerve one, they nearly killed each other 2 matches prior. So you're running out of things you can do. So doing that syringe and showing just how purely crazy Hangman's going. Yes, there's the shock value of it, but also it still makes sense within the storyline of, hey, he's going fully over the top. He's just trying to swing for the fences and get this done. Especially because I believe it was the week prior to that match is when Hangman burned down Swerve's family home.
I remember that. I happened to turn on Dynamite that week and saw that because I was really into their theater. I was like, huh, that's really interesting.
Honestly, I think that feud is going to be the same thing for Swerve long term in building his name as WrestleMania 12 was with Shawn Michaels and Brett, where you had this almost blood feud. Obviously, it was more tame for WWF back in the day, but almost this blood feud of the two young, guys that are world champion. They're putting everything on the line, and it's going to be the continual feud. It's going to be Shawn and Brett. It's going to be, Cena Orton. It's going to be Swerve and Hangman forever.
Fight forever. It's like Owens and Sammy type deal.
Which, I mean, they could fight forever. I'll watch every single one of their matches because they always had something new. Other than the half and half suplex that almost kills Owens every time.
Yeah, well, that's not going to help a neck injury at all. So I have a question for you before we move on to
Mm-hmm.
the next topic. It's kind of a thinker.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your women's Mount Rushmore of mic skills?
Mic skills. That's tough.
I told you
Because
it was going to be a little bit of a thinker.
only because as much as I love Trish Stratus and Lita, I don't think they were really good on the mic. They were good at their presentation. They were good in the ring. I would say Mickey James because she could
Yes.
do promos with pretty much everyone and deserves way more respect. I would say Mickey James is up there. I would say AJ Lee
Okay,
for
agree.
sure. May I'd say Rhea only because she's
Rhea.
gotten a lot better. Yeah, only maybe not. She's not doesn't have the best like roasts, but she's gotten so much better at connecting emotionally with the audience that
Okay.
a lot of the other wrestlers just don't have, where it feels like it's falling flat. Especially like look back at WrestleMania season when she had lost the belt and she's trying to get back in. You could tell, especially in some like the off-screen videos that they're posting, how desperate she was to get back into it, how emotionally devastated she was. And I don't think a lot of the women's wrestlers have been able to connect that way. Um,
Hmm.
Honestly, I think a large part of that is so many of like the top level women's wrestlers are not English speaking first. Like Io, Asuka, Kyrie, they're all fantastic. English isn't going to be their first thing. Their promos have never been their immediate feature. So I would say Rhea for her emotional connection and how she's improved. And then I would say Alexa Bliss because I can't tell you a bad promo she had after her turn in NXT. And there's you can go online and find montage after montage of her just verbally ripping people apart. And she even made it work when she got split off with Bray. And not many women's wrestlers would have been able to do that.
That is a very interesting list of people on there. That's a
It's
very go ahead.
it's hard only because you can't look too far back because the women haven't been given the time to use their promo skills until the last like couple decades. And even then, a lot of them fall flat. I've never cared for Charlotte because it's the same promos all the time.
Okay.
And arguably, she is one of the worst finishers in natural selection.
I think Bailey is a strong candidate for that too.
Yes, but Bailey's is purposeful because she used it when she switched to a heel, and it's not cool.
I think she probably has the worst finisher. It's so bad. I mean, the natural selection isn't that great either. I'll give you that.
The difference for me, as bad as they both are, is in the process of doing the move, Charlotte's doing a front bump, or a flip bump. Bailey's just leaning forward after she gets your hand hooked. So at least she's, trying to plant your face. Charlotte's taking a bump herself to hit you.
Well, I mean, you can say the same thing about the RKO. I mean, it's essentially an RKO, but from a kneeling position.
And yeah, and I'd agree with that. As iconic as it is, it don't fully make sense. Especially now that you have, Javon Evans and Cody Rhodes and Osprey doing springboard versions, you're taking more damage than the other guy, if you actually think about it. Because you're flying 8 feet in the air just to grab him and him to take a, drop to his chest.
Wrestling finishers always have been so debatable.
Right.
Like, I mean, look, like another prime example, the people's elbow. Like, so I'm supposed to lose to the people's elbow, but not the rock bottom. Oh, okay.
I mean, it's the same thing with the Hogan leg drop.
I was my next one. I was,
You look at
what
like the vast majority of the popular moves, they're either not that great or they're just super simple.
pedigree
Very
was
few
effective.
actually look devastating. Like the pedigree's effective, the
Choke slam.
AA, the
Yeah.
choke slam is very effective. Although I feel like with like Jelly Roll and random celebs coming in, it's diluting it a little bit. Um, and I will argue on this hill, and I'll pose this question to you and anybody watching this: Kane has always had a better choke slam than the Undertaker,
That's really tough.
and
That's
the only one I will give Undertaker for that is significantly better than I've seen Kane do. Because even any of the choke slams on Shawn Michaels, I've seen Kane do better choke slams, as great as they are. The only one I will give him credit that looks way better is when he did it to Brock when they were setting up for, I believe it was a chain match. And it looked like he legitimately killed him because he got full extension all the way to the top and slammed him, and Brock bounced like 2 feet off the ring before he fully landed back down.
I remember that. I do remember that. That's
So
man. I don't know.
I would put Kane's chokeslam over Undertaker's because for me it always looked better.
See, I'm an Undertaker fan, so like I'm trying to take my bias out of it. I was like, oh man, I may have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah,
I may
I
need to
would say
rewatch a couple choke slams. We
I
had to
will try
revisit
to.
that conversation.
Yeah.
You know who else had a really good finisher? JBL.
Yes, and I love the fact that Rikishi would take the flip bump just because he
Yeah,
could.
yeah.
Didn't
It
need to.
was like damn. It's like damn. He turned him inside out, and it always looked good. It always looked
Oh,
good.
he died every time.
Yeah, always looked good. So we have Saturday night's main event upon us in two
Unfortunately,
days. So tell me, how are you feeling about this card before we even dive into it?
underwhelming. Honestly, I was just talking to my wife about it. The difference between AEW having 8 to 10 matches on a show, making it feel like a big important thing, versus I forgot Saturday night's main event was this weekend until you shot me a message and I went to look at it. Because it's every 2 weeks. They don't really have a lot of build up. They're kind of just throwing matches together, and then you get 4 matches, and they're all pretty much going to be like 20, 30 minutes. And it's Cody McIntyre again, which if McIntyre loses again, then I'll throw a fit. Put the belt on that man. Um, but I feel like it's underwhelming. It's just we're throwing things at the wall. You have CM Punk, Jey Uso, who again, for a man who's made event, all he is an intro and a show opener at this point. Um,
One word, four letters. Ah,
Punk.
yeet.
No, I think based on the card, going down the list, starting with Punk and Uso, I think it's just going to be you're going to have the same few moves from Jay. Maybe Jimmy comes out, he gets a little conflicted, but my bigger theory is that Seth Rollins is going to pop in just long enough to make sure Punk loses and then leave.
That's I have not heard that one yet. That is interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's another one of those knee situations with Rollins, or what it is. I think it's going to
It's his
pop in long enough.
shoulder.
Yeah, because it was the dive that he did, the coast to coast like headbutt. Um,
Yeah.
I honestly think he might come in, attack him, hit him with a curb stomp, something that doesn't take his shoulder being in any kind of situation. Um, Cost him. Jay wins it. Maybe they do Jay versus Jimmy. Maybe they do Jay versus Roman because they're also building that. But I don't think Punk's going to win it as much as I'd love that. You have Drew and Cody again. Honestly, I for that I hope they go through with what they talked about doing at SummerSlam, um, and have Randy Orton cost Cody the match because then you could build Cody Randy while putting the belt on Drew. And then you have more options because he's a heel. You have more faces over on SmackDown. Um, I think otherwise you're just going to have Cody win again, and people are already getting bored of that. You have
Um.
go ahead.
So, but before you continue, I wanted to talk about the Punk and Jay match. I my theory that I've been kind of leaning on is there's going to be no winner.
I could see
I
that.
could see I could see a situation where division comes out, jumps each of them, and nobody wins to set up a triple threat or a fatal four way for the title. Maybe at Survivor Series if they don't have division in War Games.
See, my only vote against that is if you're going to have the Vision in War Games, they don't have the people. So if they're swerving and they bring Seth back into it, which I don't see that really happening, even if Seth's back in it, you still need another person. And are you going to bring Brock in, or are you going to bring in a full new member right before War Games?
I know they've been rumoring Austin Theory. People have been theorizing Austin Theory for the longest time, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see
My,
division being in War Games.
my I would posit that if they're going to go with the Vision in War Games, they're going to need at least two people. And if they're wanting to bring in new people, I don't see Austin Theory because I don't think they're going to make him believable that quickly. I would, writer's pen down, I would put Trick in there and I would put Obafemi
The ruler.
because for the first big match on the main roster, you bring him in as the ruler, part of the Vision, future champion, and have him go in and just clear house in War Games, that's going to instantly build him. Same thing with Trick. Oh, Paul Heyman brought me in. He sees I'm the future. He sees I'm the most important person ever. I'm going to, hit the Trick knee on everyone and do the rock bottom. And I can still be kind of a slippery heel in that match, working with the story.
According to Booker T, is the bookend because he dropped to a knee, unlike The Rock, where he laid it's a flat bar. According to Booker T, it is the bookend. That's
Sidebar, I would say Booker T is top 10 of all time. Doesn't get the appreciation he deserves.
agreed. Agreed. I love Booker T on commentary.
Booker T's been good on commentary. He's been good as a manager. He's been good as a booker, a referee, a wrestler, promos, good, bad,
GM.
anything.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Next we have you mentioned Drew and Cody. This feels really easy. It feels
Yeah.
really easy. It feels like Cody is going to win, and then Drew is just gonna spiral off and do nothing. But the more interesting question: who do you think attacked Jacob Fatu?
I think it's going
I
to be
think it
the
was Cody.
MFTs. I don't think it was Cody, only because I don't think they're going to have him turn heel or start showing those tendencies with a flashback. Hey, do you remember this happening? That was actually him. It's not going to be that kind of reveal. I think it's going to be, hey, the MFTs got their lick in after that rivalry. They're done with him. They wrote him off for a while. Now they're focusing on the Wyatt Six, and there's rumors that they're going to bring in more people to the MFTs. I think they're just going to write that off as, hey, he attacked them to get or they attacked him to get their lick back and move on from there. Because as far as the reporting was, it was he had to get new teeth, I believe it was, is why he was written off. I don't think they're going to put that much thought into it, and that's one of those you can just plug and play whenever that it was the MFTs.
My only pushback on the MFTs is they had not attacked anybody backstage. They've shown up and done it like in front of people in the ring. They didn't hide, and for them to not brag about taking Jacob Fatu is uncharacteristic. Because
I
Solo
could see
Solo would be the first one to be like, "Yeah, we took out Jacob Fatu, all grass, no brains." Like I really see them
maybe it was Grande
celebrate.
Americano.
Now, a Grande is a man of honor, sir. What we're not going to do is disparage the name of El Grande Americano. I'm going to tell you why I think it was Cody. One, we saw Cody and Fatu were talking in the back, and Drew was in the background. I don't think it was Drew. Drew is too obvious, and again, Drew is the guy he brags about his accomplishments. Cody, when Fatu was attacked, Cody came out there super upset, super aggressive. For what? Why are you so mad that Fatu was taken out? You guys weren't that close. And on screen, you guys aren't that close.
No, but
Then Cody got himself disqualified against Drew in the match he wanted. Cody got himself disqualified on the characteristic of Cody. Last week, Drew was mentioning people who it could have been, and as soon as Cody heard his name mentioned, he went off the deep end. If To me, an innocent person wouldn't get that angry. Just saying, just saying. He looks awfully guilty to me.
I also think if we're going off of that and say it was Cody, I think that could also work to bring Randy back into it as well.
Sure.
Hey, you're showing some tendencies I had in '09, where you're getting desperate and jumping people and doing crazy work. But does that mean that Randy's going to push him further down the hole? Or do you think Randy's going to try and bring him back out of it? If that's the route they go.
I think I like that. I like that Randy pushing Cody because here's the thing: Randy is beloved, and so is Cody. But I think if you're going to ask the fans who would they rather boo, it's probably going to be Cody.
I think Randy's
Randy's
just
been
too good to
around.
move.
Randy's been around so long. Like it's just like it's Randy. Like even if he punts Cody, he's going to get cheered.
Hmm.
he's he's going to get cheered. It's Randy Orton, man. Like you gotta love Randy, man. Randy's great.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think Cody would make sense, and then they could work with Randy into that. Or if they have Randy come back and say Randy did it, like back with Rikishi back in the day hitting Steve Austin, where it was actually Triple H is the big bad. Then
I did it for the Rock.
you could push a mini feud with Fatu and Orton.
Mm, I'm okay with
Maybe we
that.
get that pretty moonsault of Jacobs into an RKO.
If he watches any Randy Orton tape, he better not try
He's gonna try it. He's gonna get hyped
it.
up, all gas, no brakes, go for a flip and get an RKO.
Yeah, I remember when Everborn went for his shooting star president got caught with an RKO. Yeah, good times. Next, we have Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship. Jade needs to win this match. You just turn her heel. Her losing after her turning heel makes zero sense. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be an easy pick for Jade. My only hope is that they bring a manager for her.
Who would
Or
you think?
maybe
Like
they
Kiana James?
Yeah, it was like maybe they can continue building the stable with Kiana being, the mouthpiece. That puts two championships under her belt with Julia and Jade. You can still have people target her instead of Jade, so it doesn't ruin her credibility if there's some losses in there. If they're going after Kiana instead of her for those storylines, it just gives them more
Hmm.
options. And again, I don't think she's that great on the mic, so
I
that
won't
would just
disagree.
give them more to work with. So I think that would work really well. I think the only person worse than her on the mic right now is maybe Ava, the NXT GM. Um, but I think that one's an easy win. It's going to be Jade. You got to get the belt off Tiffany, give her some more character development. You can't bring Jade back and have her lose again for a three-peat.
You kind of have to be really thinking about this Kiana James thing because she did give her the business card a few weeks ago,
Again, you
and
could have
Julia.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you could start building a new evolution for women, or you know, have that slowly build up. Maybe you put a tag team in there. Maybe you bring the Kabuki Warriors under her, and have them go after the women's tag belts. Then you have four belts under Kiana James. You have your whole women's faction for it.
I really like that idea. I'm 100% down. I'm 100% down for that. And hell,
Um,
if you did add the Kabuki Warriors, well, there's your heel women's war games side,
yeah, works out perfectly.
and then I guess you could do Tiffany, Charlotte, Alexa, Bailey, and Lyra.
As long as there's no wardrobe malfunctions again.
Well, if you keep Nikki Bella out of it, the odds your odds are pretty good.
Yes.
And then the last matches we have the Intercontinental Champion, the greatest Mysterio ever, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, defending again against Penta and Rusev. I don't know how many times this man has to beat Penta. He's done beat Rusev twice. He's done beat Penta like 5 times this year already. Uh, Easy pick, Dirty Dom. What do you think?
I would say easy pick Dirty Dom, but I think they're going to use this to build more of the wedge between Judgment Day and El Grande Americano and his little tag team of obviously Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. We've all known
Allegedly.
those.
That's allegedly. We don't make accusations without facts, sir. Okay.
Look, it is what it is. The Europeans are playing the American luchadors way better than anybody said they should have. Um, but I think it's going to be, hey, we're going to bring maybe Judgment Day tries to get involved, ends up colliding with them, causes the distraction, obviously, for Rusev and Penta. Dominic cheats, either with the hammer in the boot or the metal plate in his mask or whatever it may be. Dominic grabs it, keeps going. I don't see Dom losing it anytime soon.
I could see him losing it if the rumor of him versus Cena and at Survivor Series, I could see him losing it to Cena.
I would only say no against that because as much as I'd love to see John Cena get the Grand Slam of the Intercontinental Belt, I don't think he's going to want to win on the way out. He's too much of a through and through industry guy. He's going to want to go out on the Shield, just like most of the rest of them do.
I mean, he could win it and then drop it immediately. At Saturday Night's main event to whoever his final opponent is.
Yeah, but think about the heel heat if Dominic beats him in his final match and keeps him from the Grand Slam.
I don't think he's going to be here. I think Dom is still going to get cheered. You don't boo the goats.
Yeah.
You don't boo the
Yeah, but
goats.
to the office, he's the heel.
Well, what do they know? What does Triple H know? Speaking of
What
Triple
does it know?
H, so earlier this week there were some vignettes that were shown that were just different pairs of feet walking, and the rumor mill, the fans were kind of getting excited. There was a bunch of theories. He was thinking Gunther, Jericho, all different kinds of things, and ultimately it was nothing. It was just a promotional for WrestleMania that we all know is next year. What did you ultimately think of this reveal and the vignette?
So initially, I was excited. I knew it wasn't Gunther only because all the vignettes had socks, and that man cannot wear socks to save his life. Um, at least
They
not
say he
really.
raw dogs his shoes.
Yeah, he raw dogs plenty. I was hoping that it was going to be a build up more of the vision, because especially after the last couple weeks, you see the dress shoes, you're seeing the walks. I'm like, oh, they're bringing in a couple new people. Maybe they're gonna do like a remix of the old Evolution vignettes that ended up being part of their Titantron, where they're coming out in the business suit, helicopter. Maybe you have new people in there. Like again, Trick I think would be great for the Vision. Um, could have been Austin Theory. The second you saw the cowboy boots, you knew it was Brock. Unfortunately, um, as much as seeing him with Paul again would be great, but I think this is a missed opportunity of, hey, we're going to push something that's cool. We're teasing. You're going to have some kind of return. Maybe you're building the vision, and then it's, hey, it's a poster. We don't need vignettes for a poster.
Agreed. What do you think of WWE going to Saudi Arabia 2027 for WrestleMania?
I think it's another spit in the face of the fans. Um, it's pretty much everything from TKO feels like it's been a spit in the face. You have you're paying for Netflix and you get ads, even if you're paying for the ad-free version of it, because they're just recycling shit anyway. You have way too many sponsorships all over the ring. You have some very, I would say, questionable placement of advertisements, especially back at like WrestleMania 40. You had the women's match, and they had, Bianca, Jade, and Naomi, and it was like a Wingstop ad running the whole match. You had Agua Fresca during the Luchadors. I'm like, you getting some fucking questionable placements on these. Um, Snoop Dogg and his gin and juice during the Street Profits. I mean, it kind of works, but again,
I mean,
again,
that made sense.
that made sense. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, God damn. Um, I think it's another spit in the face of, hey, we leverage too much, we're too heavily in debt, we're just getting all the money we can, and in the process, it's just spitting on the fans. It's the same reason, they moved. New Orleans has always been amazing crowds when they've had their shows, and you pulled it back to Vegas where no one can afford to go.
And
And
then
now,
there's like, hey, we give you guys Money in the Bank in September.
if they even keep it there at this point,
Speaking of that, what do you think of Money in the Bank moving until after SummerSlam?
I honestly don't think Money in the Bank is as relevant as it used to be.
So you were
Um,
not fans of the cash-ins this year?
Not particularly. I haven't really been a fan of most of the cash-ins for a while. Um, I think after they moved it to its own pay-per-view, it kind of lost a lot of its value. Where that's also the same time you start having Baron Corbin fail. You have Cena fail. You have Austin Theory trying cashing in on United States champion. Like you're losing a lot of like the star value of it, and you're just kind of recycling the same kind of points. Think back to last year, Drew cashed in and failed in the same night. Drew's not a man who should be cashing in and failing. It's just kind of
Yeah,
it's been underwhelming.
I enjoyed Naomi's cash-in because everybody was assuming, oh, she's cashing in on Tiffany.
Right.
Like that was the play. Then she cashed in on Rhea and Io.
Yeah.
Yeah, the combination of the two. Which honestly, if they do start tagging, I could see them that's being their tag name.
Yes.
But and then Seth Cashin, I didn't think he was hurt, but it was still a good ruse. I thought these were two of the better ones they've had in the past.
I would say they're better, but I don't think long term they're going to be as iconic. Because when I think of like big Money in the Bank cash in moments, I
Dolph
think of
Ziggler?
Seth at WrestleMania, Dolph Ziggler, WrestleMania 31 with Seth. Um, I would think of obviously Edge, Punk on Jeff Hardy will always be my favorite because of the crowd reaction to that. Even look back at Miz cashing in on Randy. You have the Hey
Yeah.
Miz girl in the crowd. That's always going to be an iconic one. I don't see as good as they are them going to be as iconic moving forward. Just because you've had so many and so kind of like mediocre ones. As good as Naomi's was, it wasn't because of the moment itself. It was because of the appreciation for her, of her
Well, I
finally
think that
getting
should have
her moment.
mattered too, though.
I think it does only because if you have a solid cash in and then it sputters out after, it takes away from the cash in. So as
Well,
good
look,
as Dolph Ziggler's is,
hmm,
what happened after? He sputtered out. It doesn't get talked about as much because of the follow through. It was a good moment, a good pop, just to fall off a cliff. And I think it's one of those long term. How much does that moment mean?
I think the worst one was Nikki Ash. That was the worst one. I hated that one.
I would say Baron Corbin's was worse.
I'm not that guy. I don't like that guy anyway. That was great. I loved it. I was like, yes, good. It deserved that thing anyway. Trying to cash into the modern day Maharaja.
And along the same lines, though, appreciating underappreciated Money in the Bank, my man Kane, first person to
Oh,
win it and cashed it in the same night on Rey Mysterio.
dude, I loved it. I loved that one. That's definitely like top tier, one of my favorite ones because I didn't like Rey Mysterio at the time, and Kane cashing it was just. Oh, I was like, oh yes, oh this is beautiful.
Oh, as soon as he walked out, I'm like, oh, Ray's dead.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you better get the fuck out of there. You know something I never understood about champions and Money in the Bank matches, especially if it's 1-on-1. If you're the champion, get disqualified.
Oh, 100%.
Just get
Yeah,
disqualified.
I've never understood that either. I'm like, you
Now I
could
can
literally,
understand if you're down, like
if you're down, like Cena getting cashed in on Edge the first time, he's
right,
just went through the chamber, he's bloody. But I'm like, some of these are so obvious. Like when Baron Corbin tried to cash in, and Ginger's just standing in the ring watching.
yeah, like what are you doing?
Just
Like I
fucking,
see you.
just
You're not
fucking roll
fucking
out.
invisible. It's hard to miss you with the receding hair and I'm not a big Corbin fan if you can't tell. Not a fan of that guy.
I would say I'm not a fan of his, but he was good at what he did, putting top guys over.
Oh, agreed. I
And I
take nothing.
think that
I love Bum Ass Corbin.
Bum Ass Corbin was fun, and I honestly love the fact that no one kicked out of the End of Days until Drew at WrestleMania. I think that's something I'm also a big snob about, and I talked to there's a local wrestling school out where I live, and I talked to the guy who trains everyone and does the matches, and I miss finishers being finishers. I know as an AEW mark, I'm gonna get crap for that, but like if you hit someone with a pile driver, that should be the end. You're dropping them on their head. So that I do miss.
Well, I can't remember. I know one of them was MJF. I can't remember who the other guy was. He was wrestling, but they were on the second row, and he hits a tombstone pile driver
Onto the
from the
chance.
second row,
Yep.
and he kicked out. I was like, "The fuck!"
Yeah,
Like,
that is one gripe because I do get like once in a while having it be like a 2 and 9 out of 10 and they kick out, but that is my one gripe is there are certain moves that shouldn't be kicked out of.
yeah, you're telling me
Pile
a
driver.
regular tombstone is going to beat you, but you're going to kick out from a second row tombstone?
Yeah, I'm gonna drop you on your head off the second rope onto thumbtacks and you're gonna kick out.
Like, oh, okay, so I guess you're just going to have to like hit him with a fucking bulldozer. You might get a three,
It's going to be that viral clip for Japan where wrestlers are just going to start pulling a Glock to the ring to make sure they can finish the match.
and it's still going to kick out at two.
Hangman's going to kick out and do three lariats off of it.
Buckshot! Buckshot! He's got a hole in his chest, but he's still kicked out. Oh, wrestling, man, it's interesting. As we wind up here, I have another game to play, but is there anything else that was on your mind that you would like to speak about?
Not off the top of my head. No, I think we covered pretty much everything
Okay.
within here.
Okay. So I am going to give you five champions, and you are to tell me who do you think will defeat this champion.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Chris Statlander.
I think it's going to be Willow.
Well, yeah, you're the second one that. Do you see a long reign for Chris Statlander, or do you think it's going to be a short one? Short.
I
Excuse
think
me.
I think it's going to be a short one only because they've had such long reigns with Tony that they're going to have it bounce around a bit. So I see Willow. They're going to do a triple threat, maybe a fatal four way, and Willow's going to win it off of someone else, and then it's going to be her versus Stat, and they're just going to pass it back and forth a little bit, add in a heel. Maybe Mercedes wins it up at that point off of Willow, or maybe they throw it to the Megasist. I don't see that happening, but that is an option. Um, or Thekla. I'd be down for Thekla.
Okay. Blake Monroe, the new women's NXT North American champ.
I think she's going to have a long reign, but I think if anyone's going to take it off of her, I could see it being Izzy Dame,
Okay.
only to continue her feud with Tatum that they're obviously pushing for.
Okay. The TBS Women's Championship.
So for that one, I would say Harley Cameron, only because she's got ties to Mercedes, she's got ties to Chris. You can give her a really short, even like a week long reign, and have her lose it. Well, it's still credible.
Okay. Third one. Stephanie Vaquer, or Stephanie Velcro, or Stephanie Vaquer, according
No one
to
can
the
say her name
Haley.
right.
Stephanie Vaquer.
So this one is if Bianca can come back from her knuckle, I would say Bianca. Otherwise, I would say Lyra. I think they're going to push
Okay.
Lyra to that level next.
Okay. Ricky Saints.
Not a fan of him. Um, Ricky Saints NXT. Honestly, I could see them going back to Ethan Page with that, just because they already have history. That could be a
Right.
good build up again. Um, you know, no, I'm going to change it. I'm going to say Javon Evans.
Bouncy. Yeah, I like
I
Javon
think
Evans.
he's their next one they're going to push to the moon. So I see him taking it as Ricky Saints goes, up to main roster long term.
All right. And last one, Hangman. Current
MJF.
AEW World Champ. Maxwell Jacob. I like it. I like it. I like it.
That one I could put a few out there. I think it's going to be MJF. I think Darby takes it off of him, and then once he has it on Darby, then I think you push either Wheeler or you push Daniel Garcia if they're still with the Death Riders.
Or the Almighty.
As much as I love it, I don't see it happening. I think if you're going to mix someone in, you'd mix in Ricochet as another shitty heel. So maybe Ricochet takes it off Darby, but I definitely see MJF and then Darby for sure, and then you have a few that you can mix in there.
I don't like the Ricochet one. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
That's
Give
one.
me,
That one would only be possible because no one wants to hear him talk. So the heat he'd get would be unimaginable, and he's got Toa Leona and with a Bishop Khan behind him.
now, do you think he has the same heat that Dom had when he was getting booed? Or do you think his is kind of just like go away heat?
I don't necessarily think it's go away heat because people do appreciate like the memes that come out of him matching, hiding under the table during the street fight, him screaming like a chick when he gets thrown. The bald slap is always funny. There is entertainment behind it. I think the difference is Dom got shit on for turning on Ray and having all the incredibly hot everyone wants them chicks on his side and the chicken tenders. Versus Ricochet has the big beefy behind him. So I think it's similar, but it's different reasonings.
Well, you can't blame Don. I mean, he had such a difficult childhood. His dad gambled his his childhood to Eddie Guerrero. I mean,
Look,
he
uh, as
Ray
good
was
as
a
Dom,
horrible dad to Dom. Dom has prevailed.
as good as Dom is, because Dom is the better Mysterio long term, just because he can talk and Ray could never really talk. Um, we need to give more credit to his wife because she's putting up with Rhea, then Liv, and then Roxanne.
No shit. Shout, shout out to Mrs. Mysterio.
Like, give her credit.
I think I saw an interview. I think this is before the in the middle of the live thing, and somebody was asking him about how his wife feels about it, and she's just like, she knows his work. Like, it's kind of like the same thing if you watch a movie or a TV show, and they have to catch somebody else or whatever. It's like, it's kind of like, oh, okay, like,
Oh yeah, I think I don't remember if it was on like a podcast or if he was just talking to someone, but he basically said he walked into the wrong class, and I think it was a middle school because he thought she was so cute, and that's how they started with him going into the wrong class, a few rejections, and then they've been together ever since. So
which is,
that's
yeah,
she's locked down.
love
She's a
that.
real.
Sometimes you got to be in that business because sometimes you may have to. I mean, hell, another example: Rusev and Dolph Ziggler. When Lana had that thing with Dolph
Or with Bobby.
or with Poppy, I'd see the interview with Dolph, and he was like, yeah, there was like him, Rusev, and Lana in a room, and I think a producer, and it was like, well, kiss her how like you're gonna kiss her on TV. He's like,
Yeah.
now. And it was just like, yeah. Rusev was just standing there. You're just like, and they did it. He was like, yeah, that's good. Like Russo could fucking take his head off if he wanted to.
Look, I used to be a big Russo fan. I'm not anymore. I think he's mostly kind of boring. But the fact that he worked with so much shit, like, good for you, dog.
Yeah, poor Lana being put through a table 9 weeks in a row. That was pretty good shit too.
Look, that was kind of funny though. That was becoming a drinking game.
And then Lana put her through the table. I was like, yes, come up it. I like it.
See, I will bring this up as a side note because tables matches are funny only because Cody versus Big Show at Mania followed up with a tables match at Extreme Rules where he kicked his leg out and he stepped through the table is still one of my favorite tables match moments because it does work within the logic and it
Yeah,
is the most
yeah,
chicken shit heel win ever.
yeah. It does. It does work. You don't have to do a
Exactly.
whole lot. It was different. I did like it. Well, I want to thank you for joining. Thank you for being on. Great conversation. Hope to have you back on again. Talk some more AEW
Hell yeah.
or whatever. But yeah, that will be all for wrestling therapy today. Everybody stay safe, stay blessed, and remember, Trick Willie wants his title
Trick Willie ain't getting
back.